Hi everyone, as a little diversion, I'm going to talk about one of the upcoming cards in the spin cycle. It's the last piece of illicit ice, which is Shinobi from the Jinteki faction. This piece of ice, it kind of looks like Mudwrecker because there are 3 traces, ranging from trace 1 to trace 3, but looking at the subroutines, oh man, this is one heck of a nasty piece of ice. So evidently it can do up to 6 net damage and end the run. 6 net damage in one go, enough to flatline a runner even with a full hand. How crazy is that? So of course, the first question that we ask ourselves when looking at this card is just how much money do you need in order to flatline the runner straight up with this piece of ice? Now, of course, we assume firstly that the runner has no means of breaking this piece of ice. It's a strength 5 sentry, very, very strong. There's no way you're going to be able to break it if you're not expecting it. Fairy and what is it called? Deus Ex. Yes, Fairy and Deus Ex are good counters to this. Anything else like a Femme Fatale or a Mimic without enough data cycle counters will be no match for this piece of ice. Alright, on to the credit comparisons. This is a table that shows the number of credits that a corp needs in order to successfully trace twice. The trace 2 and the trace 3. To do so, the corp needs to ensure that the runner cannot beat either trace, which means pumping the trace to 1 credit above the runner's strength. The runner's strength being the sum of his link and his credit pool, denoted as X. So for the case of a 0 link runner, the corp needs 2x minus 3 credits. For a 1 link corp, the corp needs slightly more, 2x minus 1 credits. But of course, you ask, you need to factor in the rest cost of Shinobi as well. 7 rest cost is not very cheap at all, and so when you factor that in and consider the case for dealing 6 net damage instead of 5, you get this chart over here. As an example, to kill an Andromeda who has 4 cards in hand, the corp would need 2x plus 6 credits. So if the enemy Andromeda had 8 credits, for example, you need 2 times 8, 16 plus 6, 22 credits in order to ensure a clean kill. Now, of course, caveat here, these values are go down to a minimum of 7 because obviously you need at least 7 credits to rest Shinobi. Of course, no runner would run this piece of ice while it is rest without enough credits to break the necessary traces to stay alive. So we always assume that Shinobi works from an unrest state and is very much the surprise piece of ice. In fact, the very existence of Shinobi serves just one main purpose: to kill the runner instantly, as long as the runner doesn't have enough credits or a proper sentry breaker. Now, this is a very game-changing card. Any card that has the ability to do so much damage at one go is dangerous. Scorched Earth changes everything, and Shinobi will follow in its footsteps. Now, it is no longer safe to run servers as a poor runner. As long as the corp has at least 7 credits, there's always the threat that they can rest Shinobi during a run and kill you instantly. This is very, very dangerous, and it is impossible to circumvent this. It is possible to circumvent this threat by drawing up before running every single time, but it is very impractical to do so. Now, of course, you say, finally, this is the very boost that Jinteki needs to save it from being the worst faction in the game so far. Well, I have some bad news for you. As much as I love Jinteki, it is very well known that Jinteki has one of the worst economies in the game of all four factions. I mean, sure, there's Celebrity Gift, and yes, Celebrity Gift has jump-started Jinteki's economy. However, if you think about it, Celebrity Gift reveals your hand. So the runner instantly knows whether you are running Shinobi or not, and will thus make changes to their gameplay in order to prevent themselves from impaling on the Shinobi. So you won't see that many flatlines from Jinteki's running Shinobis, unfortunately. Just like most of the red cards in this game, they are best used out of faction. Shinobis will be absolutely deadly in the hands of a rich deck, the likes of Wayland, with their transactions and instant and agendas that gain so much instant cash, or HB that has lots of Adonises and Eves set up and are ready to plant that one Shinobi in the deck that just kills you when you are not prepared for it. Shinobi really does work best out of faction, and for a measly cost of 3 influence, you can easily splash 1, 2, or maybe even 3 copies of it to your liking. I mean, it's just like a Scorched Earth. It can reliably kill the runner so long as you have the credits to support it, which Wayland and HB do. So, the bad news is, so much for it being a Jinteki card, it's not going to work much in Jinteki. So, to summarize, Shinobi is a game changer, equally as much as Scorched Earth is. As a runner, you have to take note of the existence of this card and alter your gameplay to play around it. It's one more thing that you have to constantly worry about every time you make a run. Just as Scorched Earth dictates that you shall not end your turn with attack or have a plus crit up, Shinobi dictates that you shall not run unless you have the necessary credits to get past Shinobi without flatlining or have a proper Sentry Breaker up. And of course, the final conclusion, where is Shinobi most effectively used? Out of faction. Thanks for listening. Hope you have gained some insight into this game-changing piece of ice.